Please give a warm welcome to Robert Sullivan and thanks to John Wallman. I have nothing, I brought no, I have nothing, I have no rats, I have a timer. I'm going to try to do a timer to tell me to stop talking, okay. So, but the timer's not staying. Still, there we go, 20, 19, 15. But I feel really bad, it's lunch. And the rat guy comes out at lunch, and I want to make a joke about how I might disrupt your personal digestive ecology, and that would be an ecology reference. But the rat book. There was one writer on the list of writers there. I've never written. I probably wanted to and tried to write for in-flight magazines, but I haven't. But I got to tell you this. There's 1,000 Robert Sullivans. Most Robert Sullivans appear to be writing books and articles and all over the place. Many of them, and there's a lot of golf writer Robert Sullivans too. I don't play golf. I know that if I do, I won't be able to stop, but I do caddy for my kids. Okay, so that's way off topic. But I tried to battle the nature writing label by embracing a nature writer, Thoreau, last time through. And writing a book about Thoreau, and I was recently at a very beautiful book festival up here on the Upper East Side, but even farther up, and it was in a very beautiful room, and there were extremely beautiful and elegantly dressed people in the room, and I was there. They had me bring my rap book and the Thoreau book, and everyone just kept walking by. There were lines for all the authors around me so that people could buy their books. It was wonderful for them. And for me as well, and then I'm fine. That's fine. People come and look at the rap book and go like that and walk away, and then and they look at the Thoreau book, and finally a woman came up to me and she said, "You wrote that about the rap book?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm sorry. I apologize." And then she said, "Oh, Thoreau, that's about the environment. I have a friend who's interested in the environment." She said, I wanted to say, Mother Earth. I mean, who? What, and so there you go. And that was a mistake. I shouldn't have written a book about Thoreau because, as you can see, I'm confusing. I convoluted him even more. But I kept writing books, and then about the Meadowlands or swamps out in New Jersey, about rats, trying to kind of break down this line between, as Professor Melosi used. I really like coming to this conference because I can get this idea kind of this is what I was thinking about, but you guys have the words for it, I don't. So he talked about the nature/built environment nexus, which is something I realized I spent my whole career trying to, get rid of that slash in between. But I don't really know how to say that until I hear it said, and then yes, that's what I'm doing. But anyway, I tried to do that with Thoreau. I tried to take him and say, now wait a minute. Everybody talks about Thoreau as this guy in nature, and everybody's feels like they've got the secret to Thoreau. Oh no, I know Thoreau was cheating. He actually was near town, and he used to see people. He used to go and have meals with his friends and family. And it's a real gotcha moment. Everybody thinks they know about Thoreau. No, I know the real Thoreau. But I was trying to say, no, in fact, that was his whole point. Everybody else was building country houses and trying to get away from people, and he was saying, this is ridiculous. Why don't you build it in town, then you're with people, and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, then I end up being mostly at, as opposed to now, at places where people say, oh, the environment. I know somebody who's interested in the environment. So but that was fine. That's all fine. So, but what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to give you a quick museum tour. I don't know how to work my timer. Okay, I can't do it. But there's a clock. I can kind of see the clock. Okay, quick museum tour. 15 minutes. Okay, digesting. We're in the museum. I can't work the timer, so clearly I can't work PowerPoint or anything like that. But that's all good. But this museum is not. It's a different kind of museum. I'm going to be the docent for the now 13 minutes. And hopefully we can all fit into the gallery of this museum, the galleries. And it is, I'm happy to say, a huge museum because it takes up a huge swath of the Bronx. I'm talking, of course, about the Tree Museum in the Bronx. Okay, so raise your hand if you first, I'll say, heard of the Tree Museum in the Bronx. I'm thinking we're going to get some hands. Yes, we've got some hands. Good. Okay, now raise your hand if you've been to the Tree Museum in the Bronx. Any hands? We've got a couple less. Okay, good. Okay, raise your hand. This is the final raise your hand thing, so everybody's not raising their hands won't feel, out of it for much longer. Raise your hand if you've been and visited all the trees at the Tree Museum in the Bronx. And there are, I thought somebody, no, they were just getting a cookie. Okay, no hands. There are no hands. Okay. The Tree Museum in the Bronx is, I think, incredibly cool. That's my sophisticated way of describing it. And so as I take you, I'm just going to read these two paragraphs that would be kind of my placard on the wall as we all entered. And thank you for following me. I would personally never follow me. But here we're entering the museum. And here we go. Katie Holton is an Irish artist who, since June, has presented a public art project she calls the Tree Museum in the Bronx, the most northern borough of Manhattan, infamous for urban decay as opposed to trees. The site of the Tree Museum is the Grand Concourse, a 4.5-mile-long stretch of wide, apartment building-lined boulevard. Because of the size of the Grand Concourse, the Tree Museum is huge, as in Christo huge. Everybody remembers Christo? Yeah. But as opposed to the enormous crowds during Christo's The Gates, the metal and bright orange plastic artwork that draped Central Park in 2005, there are no crowds lined up at the Tree Museum. The relative lack of Tree Museum attendance is most obviously because tourism numbers in the Bronx are, of course, nothing compared to Manhattan, except maybe when the Yankees are playing. Likewise, there are no Tree Museum, and I think this is sounds humorous, but key. There are no Tree Museum tie-ins, no Tree Museum t-shirts or lanyards, no Tree Museum keychains and sweatshirts, all of the Gates, all of which went to benefit environmental groups, parks, and art, according to Christo and Jean-Claude. The Tree Museum has none of the side effects that go along with other large public art projects in New York when, as they have been over the past 8 years with Mike Bloomberg as mayor, such art projects are centered on and in Manhattan. There have been haiku workshops with school children at the Tree Museum in the neighborhood and tours and talks, but in execution, the Tree Museum ends up feeling almost like a response to something like by Christo, a large but lo-fi public art project that asks us to think about what public environmental art is. Meanwhile,